my name is Amelia and today I'm going to be doing homemade Neapolitan style pizzas on the grill. A pepperoni pizza with a fresh tomato sauce that I blended up, and then I'm going to top that with some fresh mozzarella and some small sliced pepperonis that will have that kind of cupped charred pepperoni vibe going on. I use a Jim Lahey no knead pizza dough recipe that's amazing. It's super bubbly and light and crisp, and then by doing it on the grill, it chars it a little bit, it gives it a smoky flavor, and it makes it nice and bubbly and super delicious. So let's get started. This Jim Lahey pizza dough recipe makes enough dough for about 4 small pizzas. Or in the past, I've split the dough into 2 large-sized pizzas, so you can split this dough up depending on how many pizzas you are wanting to make. Also, the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of water, and every time I've made this, 1.5 cups of water has never been enough, so I usually add 1.5 cups of water and then mix it a little bit, and then I'll add a little bit more water when I've determined that all the other water is absorbed, but I usually go with 2 cups of water. Now I'm gonna let this pizza dough rise. The recipe suggests that you let it rise for at least 18 hours. I let this batch rise for about 22 hours. And I place this in a warmer room of the house. I suggest like a laundry room. I put this in the room where there's a fireplace, so it's a little bit warmer. And here I am cutting the 1 dough ball into 4 doughs for smaller pizzas, but you can also cut it into 2 doughs for 2 larger size pizzas. And here I'm just folding all of the corners, each corner of the dough ball up into the center, kind of like a little dumpling, and I'm just twisting it a little bit and then folding it over. And I'm gonna let this rise for another 2 to 3 hours, and again, 2 hours minimum. 3 to 4 hours is great. I think I let this batch rise for about 2 hours total. So I'm just gonna cut it up a little bit and throw it in this smoothie cup. I'm gonna do a couple of leaves of basil. And I don't cook this down or anything. This sauce that I blend, I just put it straight on the pizza. And it's pretty bright and tomatoey, and it tastes like fresh tomatoes. Okay, a pinch of salt. So I've got about 5 decent sized leaves of basil. I'm doing a little bit of oregano, just like maybe a 1/4 teaspoon, maybe a 1/2 teaspoon. Going to do a little drizzle of olive oil. I'm guessing maybe 3 tablespoons, maybe 1/4 cup. You know, this is kind of like a winging it tomato sauce. 2 teaspoons of anchovy paste, but if you're not into anchovies, you can just leave this out. It's just gonna give it an umami flavor. You're not gonna totally notice it. And a couple grinds of pepper. And again, with the anchovy paste, you could even just do 1 teaspoon if you're nervous about it tasting anchovy-y, but I love anchovies, so I did 2 teaspoons. And then I'm going to microblade a clove of garlic. It tastes like a fresh tomato sandwich, but it's salty and there's garlic. Yeah, it's good. And it cooks really nicely on the pizza. It kind of like caramelizes and mixes with the cheese. So it's good to make your own homemade little concoction. And I am going to grate this Jarlsberg using a food processor, because this is a lot easier than doing it by hand. And I cut the rind off, so I'm just putting this in here. Fresh grated cheese is really the way to go when you're making homemade pizzas. Alright, I'm just gonna slice up the fresh mozzarella I have. They say a good technique to slicing is to dip your knife in water in between each slice, and that makes it a little bit easier to cut the fresh mozzarella. While I make the pizzas, I'm going to preheat the grill on high. The goal is about 500 degrees, and I'm going to place this pizza stone on the grill to get as hot as it can be so that it chars the pizza pretty nicely. So I'm just going to, for the next 30 minutes while I put the pizzas together, just have this grill preheating with the pizza stone in it. And then I'm gonna top it with some red pepper flakes. Oh, okay. Now for the taste test of the pepperoni pizza with homemade tomato sauce. So good. And look at those bubbles. The pizza dough is just super fluffy and bubbly and cooks really nicely. Jim Lahey is really the best. So please like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and let me know if you have any other recipes that you would suggest that I try. And keep following me for more delicious recipes.